Labyrinth. In Greek mythology, the labyrinth was a maze constructed by Daedalus for King Minos of Crete, Crete being a small island off the coast of Greece, to house the rather dangerous offspring between his wife and a sacrificial bull, this creature being known as the Minotaur. The Minotaur, not being able to feed on his mother's milk due to being a bastard abomination, was only able to be fed upon human flesh, and as it grew up, continued to become more and more dangerous. Now, one of the major differences between what we would most consider a maze and what is actually a labyrinth is that a labyrinth is one set path, winding its way normally into a circular pattern to finally end up in a very centralized room. And, considering that this particular area is called the labyrinth, we can only assume what the destination is going to end up being. So here we have a very familiar weapon. You may remember from our first encounter with Pyramid Head that he wielded a very large sword of sorts, or a knife, and we actually just got that. As to where Pyramid Head is right now, or why he would have left his weapon behind, we will be finding that out later. The labyrinth itself is not too difficult to navigate. It has very set patterns to begin with, and gradually becomes more and more complicated as we progress along, especially along these winding subterranean paths, which are obviously very different from the hallways above. We can only assume that in reference to the prison setting, that these might easily have been escape tunnels for people trying to escape from Toluca, or that instead this is just a dichotomy between the actual labyrinth that was located beneath the great city of Gnosis, and the actual city of Gnosis resting comfortably above, and yet still synonymous with the winding and twisting paths beneath. So, what we have here is our first real puzzle of the labyrinth. A cube, basically, and a multi-faced cube as well. It's fairly easy to solve on easy and normal. It's simply up twice and right once. And the movement of the cube outside affects the movement of the room itself. And you just have to line up the door with the cube face.
You're alive! Maria, I thought that thing killed you. Are you hurt bad?
Not at all, silly.
Maria? That thing, it stabbed you. There was blood everywhere.
Stabbed me? What do you mean?
It chased us to the elevator, and then...
James, what are you talking about?
Just before. Don't you remember?
James, honey, did something happen to you? After we got separated in that long hallway? Are you confusing me with someone else? You were always so forgetful. Remember that time in the hotel?
Maria?
You said you took everything, but you forgot that videotape we made. I wonder if it's still there.
How do you know about that? Aren't you Maria?
I'm not your Mary.
So, you're Maria?
I am. If you want me to be.
All I want from you is an answer.
It doesn't matter who I am. I'm here for you, James. See? I'm real. Don't you want to touch me?
I don't know.
Come and get me. I can't do anything through these bars.
Okay. Stay right there. I'll be there soon.
Mary or Maria. Either way at this point, James has very little opportunities for redemption left. So it might be best to try to find where Maria is and try to save her. Or at least try to save ourselves. But with that, we can now continue back through the labyrinth. The problem is that we still have that wire grating to get through. But, through some gift of the gods, we are given a wire cutter embedded into this electrical paneling here. With that, we can now head back to the wires that were blocking our path previously, and hopefully make our way further and further through this winding and deadly labyrinth. With our egress no longer blocked, we can continue back into the subterranean tunnels, hopefully navigating them to reach the center of ourselves and whatever this maze may actually hold. Also, you may be wondering why I'm being so wonderfully open with the shotgun at this point, and really we are coming pretty close to the end of the game. And as of right now, I'm quite drowning in ranged weaponry, to say the least. I think I am currently at about 400 handgun bullets and roughly about 160 shotgun shells, and as you can see, it easily takes one shotgun shell to down most of the normal enemies. But, as we'll be seeing later on in the video, there is a much greater need for the shotgun. As the subterranean journeys continue to increase more and more, it becomes more and more necessary to really get a grip on which direction you need to be going. Thankfully, even though the pathways seem to be quite numerous, it's actually fairly easy to negotiate. Really, it just ends up being go for the closest ladder you can find, and usually that's the right way to go. Also, since I'm fairly out of practice of keeping count of my ammunition that I might have available in my gun, very rarely I will get caught off guard by these lying figures' acidic spray and be caught in mid-pump. Thankfully, though, it actually allows the reloading animation to be skipped even if I do take a minor bit of damage from the attack. And though this newspaper is partially illegible, it's a lot easier to understand than the previous wooden stone, or the stone engraving that we found earlier in the game. This is basically outlining the very important backstory of what happened to Angela, or as it's easier to understand, what actually happened to Angela's dad. Angela's dad, obviously having been known as kind of a violent drunk, suffered numerous stab wounds late one night, and as the police found no evidence of stolen items or anything like that, they naturally assumed it was a crime of passion. Whether or not they actually ever suspected Angela, his daughter, it's never really gone over.